Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Smoking on That Gas. I am your host, John Gus. With me today is one of my buddies, Todd Andrew. He is a musician and he's got a fascinating journey, and I want to dive in and cover a lot of that because I think it's going to resonate with the audience, Todd. And I think when we first started chatting about like your musical endeavor, I think you said something along the lines of like, I just wanted to like do well enough to like play in gigs.
Right. Yeah. The trajectory I'm on right now is I do a lot of TV music and live gigs, but I've created something now. It's just, I guess, a solo project. This is basically where I'm doing whatever the hell I want, and it's sort of a new thing. And because up until now, I'm starting to realize that I've done a lot of stuff that isn't, I guess, what you call your calling, you know. And a lot of times we do stuff, sometimes out of necessity for money.
Sure.
And so up until for the last 12 years, I've done music for television and what's known as library music, which is like stock music, basically. Okay. And I sort of got and grateful for it because I make my living off of it, a pretty good living. But
can you share some of the shows that's on?
Yeah. In the beginning, I've up until now, I've made about 650 what's known as library tracks, which is like, like a 2.5 minute instrumental. And it's varies from like rock tracks to like rap rock to hip hop. And I work for this company, Blazed Out Music. This guy, Christian Salyer, sort of showed me the ropes and really just plucked me out of day job world and showed me how, hey, you know what, you can actually make a living at this. Here, check this out. I get one of these checks every 3 months. And I was like, show me how to do this. And so I didn't know this was a thing. And but he said, it takes a while. So I listened to everything he said, and it was about making track after track after track after track for years. And for the first 5 years, you get paid every time a show uses one of your tracks. Okay. And that's where you make your money from. A lot of shows that were using my tracks were Parking Wars, Pawn Stars, Judge Judy.
Awesome.
I know. I was like, oh my God, I'm about Judge Judy. E-News.
You mentioned this very nonchalantly, but these are huge. Like,
they are.
Nobody in my world has not heard of Judge Judy or Pawn Stars.
I know, that's true. And I would listen to, and sometimes it's funny because my studio would be in this room and my TV would be in this room. And I would make a track here, send it off. And then a couple months later, it would go to the other room on the TV. And then a couple months after that, it would go back to this room in my bank account.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's weird because a lot of people are always talking about how dismal the music world is. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can't make money in music. But I did. And I'm not special. And I think it's just because there's persistence and knowing that it's possible, and because people do it. And I'm not the only one doing this, and so this sort of spiraled into also getting bigger placements, like what's known as custom gigs, which library stuff is where I make a track and they put it on this little CD and they use it. They put it on a website. When a reality show needs music for their show, they kind of browse through and go, oh, this is kind of cool. Let's put that in there. Cool. And custom stuff is where somebody like NBC or Fox has a new show and they need a theme song. So they describe it. We need it to sound like this artist. We need to have this kind of vibe. This is the demographic that's got to appeal to teenagers and this and that. And and then what you do is usually you don't have, they give you like 4 days to do it, which is another thing. Don't get me started on. Everything in the TV world is like, that's cool. Can you get it by tomorrow? I was like, oh, this is the theme for your show. Don't you want more time? And so within the company, it Blazed Out Music. There's maybe 10, 15 composers. And so we all put together demos, like little 30-second demos. And usually within 4 days, we're able to bang out like 3 or 4 demos. And then NBC will listen to them all and choose the best one. And sometimes you'll work a week doing a pitch and then nothing comes of it. But when you land one, like I did, for instance, my first big custom thing that I landed was for this is a very very hip thing. It's called the Honda Sports Desk Update, which is on NBC, and it's during sports. During the commercial break, there's these two guys sitting there. This is the Honda Sports Desk Update. Yeah. This is what happened, and it gets run like every commercial break, and so you get paid how often it runs and how many people watch it.
Wow.
So I remember I landed this theme and I got, $2,000 up front, and I was like, yay. At the time, my royalty checks were about, and I'll be transparent, I don't care. They're about $1,000, and I get these every 3 months.
Okay.
So, and I'm in it like 5 years at this point of making track after track after track. And Christian just kept saying, dude, just keep at it. Trust me.
Stay the path.
Yeah, he's like, I did everything you did. He was making like $25,000 per check, so every 3 months. So he was making $100,000 a year in royalties, and he's like, you're doing everything I was doing, but I'm like making $1,000 a check, and I don't know how I survived.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how do you stay encouraged in that process other than having someone telling you to hang in there?
That was it. Yeah, because musically, like behind the scenes during all this, musically, creatively, of course, I also had artistic yearnings, and that I was always shoving to the side because I want to make that money,
right?
And,
yeah.
and he was telling me to. So like anytime during all of this. Every now and then I would do something creative. Like in LA, I had this band where I sang, and it was cool at the time, although I cringe listening to it now. But that was me being authentic.
Yeah.
And then I moved to my hometown of Paso Robles. That was my hometown. I moved to LA, tried to be a rock star, came back, and that's when I started doing library music. All this time, I would occasionally, when I'm working on a TV track, I would stumble upon these other really trippy outside the box ideas, and sometimes purely on accident, and sometimes it would be from the result of just screwing around with noise. Like I'm just sitting down, like, I don't know, hey, let's take a guitar string and tune it way down and then sample it and then manipulate it this way. Like, what? That sounds weird. What is that? And then let's put a beat behind it. What? And I was like, that's freaking cool. But then I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. And then right around there, my Christian would call, be like, hey, NBC needs this thing by Saturday. So I'm like, okay. So I file it away. And then I started getting like 50, 60 of these little ideas on my hard drive. But I'm kind of reacting to what needs to be done right now, which is we got a deadline on Saturday. And so the story actually has a two-pronged fork in the road here. We're here for it. Take your time. So as far as the trajectory of the library music, I remember I was having dinner with my parents, and it was right before royalty night. We always get the direct deposit at midnight, so 4 times a year I stay up till midnight, and then I check my bank account.
And you don't have any idea. It's just like,
no,
it's like a guessing game.
Yeah.
For all you know,
you don't know what shows you got in until you get your BMI statement, and you get a direct deposit at midnight, and then the next day they have a statement of all the shows you've gone in, how much. A lot of times these shows are. You would think you get a song in Judge Judy. It's like $5. And sometimes it's 2 cents.
Wow.
And but it's a numbers game, and then occasionally you get one that's $100. When sometimes it's $500, but it's a lot of not what you think. But I remember having dinner with my parents, and I was kind of discouraged, and I'm 5 years into it, and I'm not creatively fulfilled. Because a lot of times, these library tracks, the thing about them are, it's not music that you would normally make. It's what I call functional arts. It's kind of like, I felt like at the time, and not comparing myself to Picasso.
Yeah.
But if Picasso had a job working at Hallmark gift cards.
Gotcha.
And they say, hey, we need we need 5 more happy birthday cards by Saturday. Can you do that?
That paints such a good picture. I'm totally tracking with this right now.
Yes. But inside I felt like Picasso, and I was like there's this whole other, like, dude, you're Picasso and you're ignoring it. And
I know, but I gotta get my homeworks out. Leave me alone.
Yes, dude, I got a deadline on Saturday. I don't have time for that. And but I remember I told my parents, if tonight's check is low, I'm going to quit. Because if I'm going to not make money doing something, I might as well enjoy the music that I'm not making money at.
Great point. Totally. Yeah.
And but this was the check that the Honda Sports Desk update was going to be in. So I check my bank account at midnight, and there's $50,000 in my bank account. Now,
hello.
It turns out 20 of that was not mine. So still, I got $30,000. My income went from $1,000 a check to $30,000.
Boom.
And then I asked, I was like, okay. I was like, so wait, so as long as they run this Sports Desk update, are my checks going to look like this? Yeah.
Wow.
So what? So I went from 0 to 6 figures in like at the stroke of midnight. So, which brings up a strange an analogy that I tell people.
I love it. Yeah.
Is in this scenario, before that, when I was having dinner with my parents, feeling broke, was I really broke? That I actually had that money at that point. It just hadn't been deposited in my account. At what point did I become abundant? Was it then? Was it a week before? Was it when I made the track? Was it when I started making music? It's kind of like the analogy of if you have a rock and you take a hammer and you're hammering the rock, and then one time the rock breaks. Was that one hit that broke the rock? Or
it's a great point.
All the hits that came before that.
Yeah.
So the whole time, those whole 5 years that I felt like I was broke and doing nothing, I was actually doing something.
Yeah.
You just didn't see the results.
Yeah. It's
But
like you
now-
were farming the seeds. You're planting the seeds.
That's the exact
Yeah.
analogy
Yeah.
my dad told me when I was getting discouraged, because he started a business and he's like, it's planting crops, and you just do it, and it's all overnight they spring, but they've been growing this whole time. It's just you haven't seen it. I heard another analogy is like if somebody's in the next room and you can't see them, do you go, oh my God, I miss that person so much. Where are they? They're not in my life. No, they're here. They're just in the next room. You just can't see it. And
Wow, that's powerful.
the same goes with anything you're trying to manifest. If you want to manifest abundance, you actually have it. It's just you don't. It's in the next room. You just can't see it right now. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And when I got that deposit at midnight, it was always there. And I had been doing things like visualizing, all the stuff they tell you to do in The Secret, and so I'd been doing it. But I remember thinking, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
This is for other people.
Yeah, maybe I'm doing it wrong, or maybe
right.
this is some weird new age mumbo jumbo, and I shouldn't get involved in this. But then I was like, oh my God, it worked. And so then I found myself in the position of being a person who has a 6-figure income. In a land where nobody's making money with music, and everybody's saying how much it, oh, you can't do music. This, if you want to be rich, don't be a musician. I'm like, I did, and I didn't have to tour. I didn't have to sign a record contract. I stay in home in my pajamas and play guitar into a computer and make 6 figures. What? So.
Someone's got to win at life. Someone's got to live this kind of life. Why not you? Why not you?
Yes. So I found it. So I'm like stoked. I'm like, oh my God. And that the royalties for Honda Sports Desk update sort of started dwindling a bit, but other things made up for it. I got other theme songs. I got in Fox Sports. I'm pretty much the sound of Fox Sports at this point in time.
That's pretty cool.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
There's a show they have in the morning called First Things First, which is a 3-hour wrap-up show. It's like the morning show.
Yeah.
I landed that theme, and then at noon they have a show called Lock It In, which I landed that theme. Then at 2:00 they have a show called Inside PBC Tonight, which landed that theme. So by the time 3:00 hits, I've made $150 in my pajamas. This sounds like I'm totally bragging and all that stuff, but it's to prove a point. That's in the midst of all this, and I was stoked. Something weird happened.
Tell me.
Is my output of music for the company started to decline. I started to make less tracks. Now, Christian, of course, chalked it up to, well, you got rich and you got lazy. Maybe part of it. But there was this other thing I had to sort of address, that I was still miserable.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I think I'm glad you said that, because that is something like when I was broke and you'd hear celebrities or rich people talk about like money isn't everything.
Right.
And I'd be like, so Kanye's my favorite artist, and he says, money's not everything, not having it is, and it's like,
right.
It's so tongue in cheek, but it's so effing true. And I'm just like, but I also have been in the place where like I'm not paycheck to paycheck anymore, and I have been miserable. So I think it's the relationship, right? The relationship with it in internally what's going on. So I'd love to hear about this part.
Yes. And yeah, I know. I told it, and then, you know, the thrill of it lasted for, they say, about 3 months. Like whenever you get a raise, the thrill of it lasts about 3 months, and then you get used to it. And so I got used to it, and I would tell my friends.
How long ago are we talking about years wise?
This was 2015.
Okay.
And I was telling my friend about this, and she's like, "I hate it when people who have money say that money's not everything." I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, you'll see. Because it is about fulfillment. In life.
Right.
And of course, our parents grew up in the Great Depression.
Yep.
So they have this thing of it's all about money. Like the bottom line nothing is worth doing unless you can make money at it. And my dad is a very practical person. He owns a business. Mm-hmm. And so this thing started creeping in. I noticed I'm still miserable and depressed and all that stuff. And the reason is, I've started to realize, is that although, yes, I'm doing good here, what if I'm supposed to be here?
Ooh.
Yeah. It's somebody said an analogy. Kyle Cease. Do you know Kyle Cease?
I don't know Kyle.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
He's an awesome speaker. He has this analogy of Michael Jordan with amnesia. Imagine if Michael Jordan had amnesia, and he worked at McDonald's.
Ooh.
And somebody comes up. No offense if anybody who works at McDonald's.
All work's good work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody comes like, "Dude, you're Michael Jordan. What are you doing here?" "Oh, I don't know. It's a paycheck. This and that."
I like Big Macs to get a discount.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to be manager, and dude, you're Michael. You should be playing. You should be making millions of dollars. I don't know. I got a job here though. This is stable, and I want to keep that. So I kind of felt like Michael Jordan with amnesia. I felt like there was something bigger calling, and all these weird ideas that are stacking up on my hard drive. Whenever I'd get into a funk, I would listen to them. I'm like, dude, this music is freaking amazing. And I was like, what? But I don't know what to do with this. Mm-hmm. And so I think and I would look at people that got really successful, and they all kind of just did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And these people that won Oscars and Grammys, and like Billie Eilish, for instance, she's just doing what she wanted to do. Yeah. That was just kind of.
She does not care.
It's just not like, hey, this is practical, or hey, what's trending right now? Let's make that kind of music. And she's just like, this is my sound, and she actually probably never even intended to be successful.
Yeah. My favorite song by her is "You Should See Me in a Crown," and it's like a really powerful song. And like the story behind it is like her and her brother were watching the show like The Crown, and she like, wouldn't it be cool if, and it's like, right. Which is like a common theme of like, I just got done talking to Brittany, like, wouldn't it be cool if. So being in this place of like,
right,
know, where you're out of just like being an iconoclast of like, I'm just going to do what I like. And
right.
That's pretty badass.
And I couldn't ignore the fact that.
Did you feel like that was like eating at you because it wasn't,
yes.
You weren't paying attention? Okay,
I keep shoving my calling to the side. To make Hallmark gift cards, and but then somebody would say, "Dude, don't be ungrateful. You're making like,
yes.
Do you see your situation right now?
Yeah, you should. Yeah."
And especially like my parents, every time I tell them, I really need to make my own record. Yeah, but don't quit. Don't stop doing the TV music because you gotta make money.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't want me mooching off of them as what they really wanted, which I understand where they're coming from because I did for a long time. So they're like, we're not going back to that. You're on the streets. So I felt this eating away at me. And also the fact that sometimes I would take like a Sunday afternoon and I'm like, I'm going to fire up my computer and I would just free write. My favorite thing in the world is to what I call free writing, which is to have a blank computer screen with no agenda and follow every little intuition. Like sometimes I'll have an idea of like, like I'd see like I usually look at pieces of art and I see like, there's a piece of art with like a strobe light. I'm like, oh, cool. Like maybe I'll make a guitar kind of sound like a strobe light where it kind of goes on and off. And then I'll just
that's cool.
I'll just follow hints with no agenda and I'll do weird stuff. Let me take this kick drum and like extend it and put distortion on it and then take a little section of that and tune it up. And like, I'll just be doing random stuff. And every time something amazing comes out. And what that does, and first of all, it's something that I could not have conceived of. And second of all, the rest of the day, I'm like buzzing with this energy. I'm just like, oh my God, like that track was amazing. People are going to freaking freak out when they hear this.
Ooh,
and so
I love like that feeling where it's like, if they don't believe, I'm going to make them believe. Like this is this what I just did is undeniable.
Yeah. And
like that feels so good.
And so that's when you know it's your calling and of what you're supposed to be doing. If it fills you up with that feeling. I wasn't getting that feeling from library music. Yeah. Or anything I was doing in life.
The Hallmark cards.
Yes. Yeah. And I was also doing other freelance projects, and I was also doing do a lot of live music. I play in 5 bands. I don't get that feeling from playing in bands either. A lot of people would say, "Oh man, you're a great guitar player. You're destined to be on stage." I was like, you know what? I'm actually not.
And I've seen you perform, and you're excellent at it. And it looks like you're having the time of your life. But
with that band, it was. That was a good show.
Yeah, that was so fun. Yeah.
But there was, and some of the other bands are great as well. Although I just quit 2 bands this week, but
you can't be in them all.
Yeah, exactly. It was getting to be much. So right now I'm at this. So basically, what I started to do, it's been kind of a running joke with people. What do you do? Oh, I make music for television, but I got this thing on the side that I'm working on. It's kind of a trippy solo project thing, and it's something I always talked about but never did. And then
these are the Sunday downloads, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I've got all these ideas, and now of these free writes. They're like little 20-second bits that I never expanded into a track. Because also part of me didn't know what it was. And the other thing is the main difference between making music this way and composing stuff for television or for anybody else is the ego.
Wow.
When I free write, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just listening to intuitions. It's like it's going to sound totally cheesy, but it's like I'm communing with the universe, man.
No, I don't think it's cheesy. In fact, I think that there's something to be said for a person like myself is that. First time, I don't see it. Second time, that's interesting. Third time, it's like, hello, are you paying attention? Right. It's when it shows up that third time in a short period of time, I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah. So, but I think that's where like the good stuff comes from is like and I've also like thought about this too with like, I don't think on some of these ideas that I'm the only person getting it. It's who's going to act on it that's going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you got clear enough to a place where that you could acknowledge it and have enough courage, bravery to
actually do it.
Yeah.
But the when I'm creating something on purpose, like for a library track, when they say we need it to sound like X, Y, and Z, that's creating from the ego. That's like I need to sound like Nirvana. We need a track that sounds like Pearl Jam, kind of. Yeah. Can you make us something like that? Now we have a specific result in mind that you were trying to get.
Yep.
With free writing, you have no result in mind, and you channel whatever the universe wants you to. Boom. And that's where the buzzing feeling comes from. And that's why when I compose library music, I get a sinking feeling. And for a while I would just push through that sinking feeling. I can't push through it anymore. Yeah. It's
are you going to answer the call or not?
Yes. Yeah. And so I did. I finally made a record with the push of some people, Jessica Otter being one of them, and Carly being another, and everybody, the people around me, like they all said, you know what, like they noticed. It's just basically from me talking about it a lot, and also just noticing things like how I would sabotage a little bit, on like things that have nothing to do with music. I would almost get something and then it wouldn't be in my programming. I don't know. It's almost like I felt like I didn't deserve to do my thing.
I think unworthiness is something that until you shine a light on it, you just feel like it's a part, like that's for other people. That's not for me. Yeah. I'm not good enough. I haven't struggled enough. All these.
I haven't paid my dues.
I haven't paid my dues. Yeah. And I think that's really why I wanted to start this, because like, if we show a light on this, can we accelerate other people faster? Can we pick up is this going to resonate with somebody? Like maybe that Michael Jordan, other, kindred spirit Picasso was out there like, why am I behind the fucking fry machine? Like,
right. Yeah. Exactly. Because when I see people doing their authentic thing and succeeding at it, there's a singer around here, Will Bremen. Will Bremen. He's freaking amazing, by the way. And he's like, but he's doing his authentic thing. He's got this real insane soulful voice, and he got on The Voice, and he made it to like the top 6. And I remember when he was doing that, I was kicking myself. I was like, you know what he was doing? Like while I'm over here making Hallmark cards, he was just doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I'll look where he is, like in a year. And so that would ignite something in me, like okay, like, but then there's the fear of a lot of things. Like one of the main things is how are you going to make money at this? And are you going to give up your cushy library music job to do your little album? You're going to make a little album?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had somebody say that it's funny. Someone just recently said like, oh, that sounds like a fun little project. And I want to be like, there's nothing little about this shit, all right?
Yeah. Somebody. Okay, so we can curse. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
By the way, John taught a yoga class. I just gotta say.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
And his niche was he cursed, and it worked so freaking good. And I was like, dude, that could be like your niche. That was awesome.
My mom doesn't like the F word. I want to go on the record for saying that. So if she's watching, I'm sorry, Mom. But like sometimes I just get like so jacked up, and it's like the emphasis is there.
Yeah.
And they're like, let your hair down. Like be in that space, you know?
Yeah. Who said yoga's got to be, a certain way?
Hey, yeah. Not me. Not this guy.
No. I was going with something. What did you say right before that?
We were talking about being in that place of receiving the downloads, acting on it. The
Right.
guy, Will Bremen, was doing his thing.
Yes. And and I was just sort of, I would kick myself. And I know, I was still miserable. So I acted upon it. I took, and it was weird. This was actually last December and January.
Okay.
I literally defined what is it that I want, and 8-track album. And 8 songs. I actually had a bunch of ideas. I had more than enough ideas. So I just had to finish them. And it kind of morphed into this thing where the project's called Godyes. I didn't know what it was going to be. Like, is it going to be a band? Is it going to be rock? And so, or is it going to be hip hop? Is it going to be electronic? And of course, how are you going to make money at this? But I wasn't thinking about any of that. First step is to just make this 8-song album, and then the key emphasis being that this has to be authentic music. I can't be thinking, I noticed this kind of music's hot right now. I'd make a lot of money doing that.
Following the trends.
Yeah. I was like, let's pretend that nobody's going to hear this, and no money is going to be. Let's just take money off the table. I'm now going to take the next 2 months and just get that buzzy sensation. Take some of these little 20-second ideas, make them into full tracks, and I did. It was like a almost sheer. It was weird. It wasn't natural. And I actually had an accountability coach where she would literally say every Sunday, "Hey, where's the new track?" And
what part didn't feel natural when you say that?
That's that it could be this easy. Because it was. Although there were parts that were challenging.
Sure. But I think I want to pause on that, because I think that it's there's a difference between hard and challenging. Right. So sometimes when people ask me like, is that hard? It's like, no, it's actually easy, but it's very challenging. And I think that's a good place to be.
Yeah. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool. Like, you hit these little challenges. So in the world of music, that means usually creative blocks. Like you have this little 30-second idea, and you're like, okay, I need to turn this into a 4-minute track. And you just sit there. Okay, what do I do? Like, I was trying to make a verse. That sounds stupid. That sounds like this. And then after an hour, you give up, and you step away, get lunch, come back. Oh, yeah. Why didn't I do this? Okay, yeah, there it is. And I knew that, and I wanted to incorporate guitar, because it is safe to say that the reason I was put on this planet was to play guitar. I've been doing that since I was like 12.
Okay, I wanna like, if there were a way to like pause, highlight, like freeze frame, like that is like that. I think that is like one of the things that I'm like really trying to like within my own life, and then like project into this project of like, why was I put on this earth? Right. And for me, it's like to encourage other people. Right. And so then it's like hearing you say that, it's like when you get that like dialed in on like why am I here? Just turns the volume down on everything else.
Yeah,
it's like that, like the scene from or the line from Fight Club. Like once you get punched in the face, like turns down the volume to like everything else. Like once like you get that, like no, this is. Oh, why haven't I? Like I like this. I'm good at it. Like what?
Yeah.
Hello. You know.
I know it's something that especially. I know I feel bad for. Like some people don't know what their purpose is, and or they are sort of aimless.
But that's okay. But but you're doing your part right now, being here. Like I'm doing my
Yeah.
And we can't do it for him,
right?
You know.
Yeah, and also and one of the things beyond a sort of what is called a win-win-win, which is like, for instance, for every musical project that anybody does, and anybody should take this advice, is you have to ask yourself, why is somebody listening to your music? And if that you're a bitching guitar player, that's not good enough. So why is somebody going to listen to my songs? The first win is that on the surface level, I get to be a rock star and make money. Okay, cool. Second win,
check.
That's a win. That's a win.
Easy. Sign me up.
A win for me. Okay, but what's a win for the listener? Is that it has to fill them up with an emotion. And one of the things I sort of unconsciously did with this album, or just in all the music, is I get into a high place, not actually high, but a high vibrational place through just from free writing. And I do a lot of meditation, I do a lot of yoga, and there is high and low frequencies. And
totally.
When you're in a high frequency, the world is different. You see nothing but, when you're in a low frequency, you see nothing but problems.
Yep.
And a lot of your life reflects it. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of scarcity, a lot of brokenness, but when you get to a high frequency, you see nothing but solutions.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, shit, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I make it a priority to get into a high place every day. I meditate for an hour a day.
No kidding.
Yeah, sometimes two.
Okay. So that's interesting, because that's been a common theme that we've talked to thus far.
Right.
Has it always been that way? And was it like a muscle that you had to build up?
It's in the early days. Meditation didn't take too well to me.
Sure.
Like a lot of people. I did learn in 2013 transcendental meditation.
Okay.
From John Freeman here in St. Louis.
Okay.
I was doing that for a while, and then around 2018, I discovered through Kyle Cease. This name's going to be mentioned a lot.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
It's just simply because sitting there for an hour and like take my phone, put it on airplane mode, set the timer for an hour, put it across the room, sit on my couch, and do nothing for an hour. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Don't try to focus on your breath. Don't try to do anything. And what happens is, for the first half hour, your thoughts race. What am I doing? God, I'm going to be here an hour?
Lots of judging.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, God, I got to do that thing. Dude, I should be working right now.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah. But then after about a half hour, you've thought everything you're going to think. And then there's this effortless silence. And weird things happen when you shut your mind off. First of all, you realize that you're not your mind because it just disappeared and you're still here.
Powerful. Yep.
And then you get these little insights. You get into an instantly high vibrational place because, in essence, that is what we are. Everything that we're trying to get, like abundance and happiness and love and all that stuff, the reason we want those things is because that's what we already are. And we've just gotten away from it. And the way we've gotten away from it is through our human mind and our ego. Yeah. And the illusion that I'm separate from you. Yeah. And I'm separate from that. And then there have been times in meditation, it has kind of tripped me out, where I would understand conceptually things like we are all one, or like this is all one thing. Yep. But I experienced it. It's like I would hear the trash truck in the background. And it was like I was the trash truck. And I had this realization, oh my God, I'm all of this. Like this whole thing is me. I'm not this. I'm this. Yeah. And some people are like, oh, okay, so you're the ruler of the universe? Like, am I just a character in your dream? But it's kind of a weird thing to think. Like when you're having a dream, right? And I'm talking to somebody in my dream. Who are you talking to? Right. You're talking to yourself. Yeah. And this is no different. Right. And so through doing a lot of that, I get into this place then I make this music. So I put this feeling into rhythm and sound and trippy textures and things like that. And then I put it out into the world. And my thought was that if somebody in a low vibrational place heard this, they would get a whiff of high vibration. And it's actually happened a few times with a few people. The album's been out now for like a month and a half. And
it's a baby. It's brand new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still evolving. Like I'm working on new stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know still what this is. Like maybe I'm going to start singing on it, or maybe it's going to turn into a live thing. I don't know. But a few people have reported high states of consciousness after listening to my record. I'm not saying that I'm like the master savior of the universe or anything like that.
No, but I do want to highlight that what you intended to create was achieved.
Yeah. And on a micro level so far.
Yeah. But even I've listened to it. The thing that I do like about the album is that it's intuitive in the way of where I want it to go, it goes.
Right.
Which... that tripped me out.
It's
like I'm listening to the song and be like, wouldn't it be cool if? Or I'm like, I wonder like what this song has, and then it comes in, I'm like, holy shit, like that was kind of mind blowing. So like what that conceptual, I don't know if, let's put this out, let me try to vibrationally create this thing. Like it is achieving that.
Right. Yeah. From a few people have. My friend in LA, she's got long-term COVID, and she has a hard time walking down the hallway. But she goes on these walks every day, and she says she listens to it, and she's like, I walk actually farther when I'm listening to your record, and it's not my record, but like it's the record.
The record, yeah.
Yeah. It sort of just is, and so it's just from the micro, as of press time, if you've heard this album, you're one of 40 people that just personally know me and follow my Instagram.
Yeah.
But so next step is let's get this out there to people. And that is what I don't know how to do.
but you say that, but you're here.
That's true.
Like you answered this call. Like we did not have this scheduled. And I was like, I would love to get Todd in. And then thankfully we had the bandwidth in the studio to make it happen, because I'm very much like trying to be in this place also of, I could do it next time I come back to town, something like that. We never do it, but it's like,
right.
Like, hey, like if we can do it, we can do it. And then I said, like, I committed to a time before I even knew we had that available, but it was like, we created this moment, but it was meant to happen.
Oh yeah.
And we both answered the call.
At midnight last night on Instagram, it was a message. And
yeah.
And I'm always busy, and I'm like, I'm actually not doing anything tomorrow.
And that's why I kind of threw it out. I'm like, I know he's probably got a gig tomorrow afternoon, but like maybe we can get it in before. And so, yeah, it's just like, but answering the call,
right.
and I think the other thing that we talked about when we were first chatting about the album a couple weeks ago was music has that like very funny way of, on Mondays, Discover Weekly, and then Fridays, Release Radar, like on Spotify.
Right.
And it'll come into my life and I'll be like, oh shit, new Chance the Rapper, this is dope. And I'll like want to send it to my friend, a new Chance, and then I'll be like, this is 2019. Like, this is brand new to me. But for my friend, he's like, dude, I've been listening to that song for 3 years. Like, what's up? So I think that like you're on the path, man. Like right. We don't know who this is going to go out to.
That's true.
And we don't know who could find this a year from now. We don't know, but you did
right.
your part.
Yeah,
and you're doing your part. And I think that that's so important, is the detaching from what comes after we do our part. That's where the magic happens.
That's true. Yeah. It is easy to get caught up in things like numbers. And for a second there I did. When it came out, I was just kind of like, I don't know what I expected, but just like anything, it just went. Yeah. Like just because you release an album doesn't mean people are going to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I felt about the podcast.
So
oversaturated.
It's like,
this might be 10 of my friends. I don't know.
Right.
But where I believe in and where I see it going, that's why I'm here. I'm investing to find out, and like it's high quality stuff, man. The fact that you did every single piece of it is like a testament to your ability, which is like you're a humble guy and.
A lot of it was learned from doing library music, so
which is like
a lot of the skills. So I was kind of doing the Mr. Miyagi thing the whole time.
Isn't that amazing?
I know. I was like, oh my god, this whole time of doing 650. I've made 650 library tracks, and which a lot of people haven't made that much music, but the way you get better at something is you just do it and do it and do it. Each track you learn a little something, and I've done every style. like from rock to country to dark country to chill wave to drum and bass. And every time we've done these new styles, I kind of did a deep dive into it, and I've learned little tricks, and I go on YouTube and I learn production tutorials, and here's how you make a fat kick drum, and upgrading my gear. So for the last 10 years of doing music for television, I've learned the technical skill side of doing this. So I had and I had all the equipment, I had everything I needed, and other than just actually doing it.
but I think I think there's something to be said about that, is the accumulation of skills along the way.
Right.
But the key piece is you. Like nobody could do what you just did.
I guess not. Not in the same way.
Exactly, because even if someone you got the exact same path,
right.
Especially something musically, like you're going to hear it, you're going to experience, it's going to be different.
Right.
But you created this thing that is 1,000% unique to you.
Yeah, it is. I can honestly say it is the authentic. That this is the real me, and I've been stuffing away the real me this whole time, and I think that was the source of my discontent in life, and so that's why. Like for instance, when I do a live show, I'm in a lot of bands, and but all the bands, I'm sort of in a group, and I'm kind of going along with what they want.
Do you feel like you're kind of playing a character?
Yes,
in that story.
I'm an actor.
Yep.
And and some one band's kind of like country rock kind of thing, and I love the people, and we do good shows. But when someone after the show comes up to me like, "Dude, you were amazing," my reaction is this: "Yeah, okay, yeah." I was like, "You're drunk." That's cool. And it doesn't mean anything to me. And I had to question that. I was like, why doesn't, like, I just destroyed this place. And people are coming up to me telling me how awesome that was. And all I'm thinking about is I got to get home. Like, I can't wait to go home with my dogs so I can chill and watch TV. Like, I was like, you have to question that. The reason is because when they're complimenting me from that band, they're not complimenting me. They're complimenting this actor. Like when somebody compliments the God Yes Project, that's the real me. And
I want to circle on that. The self-awareness that to go into that observation. Have you always had that? Has it always felt that way?
No.
Or was it just kind of like
it was subconscious. It was
foggy, and then wait a second, that's why.
Oh yeah, especially like lately, and I don't know why. I think probably the fact that I made this album. Things have actually been different because now I actually have a tangible thing. This is the real me, like literally, it's on Spotify. And now that I live in this universe where I know what that is, I can't go back to being fake. And so now I'm looking at my life and realizing how many things I do and have done that aren't authentic, that I've only done because I don't know how to say no. Or I'm trying to please people. Yep. And it's like 90% of my life.
I think it's so and I'm meaning this in the very way it's intended. I think it's that's very brave to admit, because I think that's the case for most of us.
Right.
And feel like I'm in an awakened path, and I look back I was there. I have some memories, but I largely feel like I was drifting.
Yeah. There is a time where you're not aware that you're not being authentic, or that you're just kind of going along, and so all you perceive it as is, I'm just not happy. Yeah. And but then someone else says, none of us are. Okay.
Cool. All right.
Cool. I guess that's it. But then you see happy people. Yeah. Well, why are they? They seem to know something that I don't. And
why does he get to make this awesome music and wear the silly hat?
Yeah. And but then you get more awareness. I don't know if it's just growing up or doing things like meditation, or yoga, or just reading books, or just knowledge, just kind of shaking up the status quo. And then you realize, a lot of people, I think they should shy away from their calling, and everyone does have a calling, and a lot of people don't do it because there's no money in it. They perceive that, but there is. Trust me.
Yeah. I think that's the number one. It's interesting because I think it's almost like a secondary fear, but the real fear is, what if I'm so effing successful I don't have anything to complain about anymore.
Yeah.
Can I really handle that?
Your ego always needs a reason to justify itself.
Yeah.
Like, what if we had no struggle? Like, what if we always fantasize about this life, this place that we get to where everything's just fine? What if you had that? Could you handle that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if you had no problems? Then you're like, cool, now I'm here, and I guess there's nothing to do now.
Yeah.
So, but that's the ego justifying its own existence. So that's why people self-sabotage. Where you get to a certain point, so many people, and it doesn't fit into their programming, or they're like, oh wow, now I'm rich and now I have no problems, so let's just mess this up somehow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in a drunk driving accident, or I'm gonna punch that guy or something like that. Will Smith.
Hey, lock the doors, Wes.
Yeah. So, but then you see people, that are kind of on this other plane where they are happy, and nobody's ever 100% happy.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of the nature of existence, but it is a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Like some people, it's almost like if there's a meter, some people are over here on the happiness meter, like 90% of the time they're happy, but just by the nature of existing, there's going to be suffering, but that's fine.
And that's also where a lot of like the good stuff comes from.
Yes. Sometimes it's necessary suffering. I think of everything, all the worst things that have happened to me in my life have led to some of the best things that have ever happened.
Isn't that a trip?
Yeah.
Like that is like the big mind blowing piece that I'm like been sitting with, is like when I was in it, didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah. But then I'm like, but this new cool thing that I'm like, this doesn't happen without that. Like, or the thing that I thought I wanted to work out, I don't come into this place of awareness of this other opportunity that's like way better.
Right.
Way more satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. And it is stepping stones.
Good. Yeah, well said.
So it's like sometimes something that works in one era of your life, you shed. It's like Mr. Miyagi. It's like, now we don't have to do this anymore. And it's almost like how you listen to a certain band at a certain point in your life, and now you're just like, like that was then. So it was like for instance, doing library music, which by the way, I'm still doing library music. I'm still jazzed about it. I think I want to do it on a deeper level, like make really cool next level library music. I just can't go back to making cliche stuff.
Which I think that's like, it's interesting because I'm noticing like a different shift in things that my ego didn't like, or like, I have to go back to doing this. I thought I was past this.
Right.
And then you have that vibrational shift and you're in that place of creativity, abundance, whatever you want to call it. And then it's all of a sudden like, this thing's kind of cool. This thing's kind of cool. Like, and I'm going to do it in such a way that like, because I don't need it out of scarcity. Like it's just like this extra thing. I'm not holding on to it so tightly, so I can be more creative with it. Like I can infuse more of myself into it.
You can do it in a different way.
If it goes away, I'll still be okay.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like you're playing with house money and.
Yeah. I heard this thing where like when you get to a state of oneness, the idea of we judge things as like high and low. On one level it is. Like what I was just talking about, high vibration, low vibration. But even beyond that, there's another level of oneness where there actually is no such thing as high vibration, low vibration. And I mean, there is on the level of surface, but sometimes we judge things as being it's always our judgment. I'm going to mention his name once again. Kyle Cease. He did this thing called the Darkness Retreat, where he locked himself in a room for 10 days.
Wow.
In complete pitch black. So he did a 10-day meditation. And I was talking to him around this time, and he came out and went to the airport. He's going to fly back home. First thing he wanted was a Big Mac. And you would think he achieved this state of insane enlightenment. But he said he was in these slummy neighborhoods with crack addicts and dumpsters and stuff like that. And he said it was kind of beautiful. It was like a piece of art. And so a lot of times we judge things as it's our judgment. But in reality, in the realm of oneness, they're actually everything just is. So when you get to that state, it's trippy. But on the level of us humans, us mortals, there's there's a preference of, whether you want to do things that are a 10. And so making free writing music, just if it feels good, do it. It's like, why not? Or not. Like,
yeah. But no, I think there is a lot to be said about the perspective and the, this can is bad. Is it? Or is it good?
Right.
Yeah. Like that, if you've been in a place of, and I it's funny that you say this, because when I was talking to my therapist about basically this time last year versus last year, not a lot's different in my life,
right?
But I just told her, I was like, the tone of my glasses is different,
right?
Like, it's like, I felt like I was like looking through everything through a gray lens, where now everything's like a bright lens, and it's just like,
right.
So yeah, that thing that, because we perceive it as common, or not taking a second to look at the beauty of it,
right?
It could be there, but we're just choosing to project something else onto it.
Like, reality is almost like one of those ink blot tests.
Yeah.
And everything is our perception of it.
Yeah.
And we can't. I mean, we can, but reality just is reality. But if we can change us, and so we can change as we evolve. Our perception of reality is different, and sometimes things are the same, but you're not the same.
Yeah.
And you just perceive it differently, and it makes all the difference. And sometimes, ironically, that changes reality. But at that point, you don't care.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I do have an interaction where I cared a lot,
right?
And then I got to a place where I was somewhat neutral, and then it showed up again, and it was like, I'm not even, like, I'm over here now, like this,
right?
Like, you're entertaining this thing that, like, I don't even recognize anymore.
Yeah, there was a singer in one of my bands. She was having some anxiety, and she was like throwing up before the show, this and that. And I remember thinking, why? Like, it's like, I don't know, because I'm not getting along with this guy in the band, or this and that. And I remember thinking, like, I was like, the root of that is because you care too much. I was like, and I, of course, go into my spiel that I always do. I'm like, you ever try meditation? It's kind of a running joke.
I talked to you about my buddy Kyle.
Yes, exactly. And but I was like, because I'm kind of in the same way, where I guess it's non-attachment is what it is.
Yeah.
You just kind of like not care so much, and it's pretty awesome. And but when you have anxiety and stuff like that, that means you care too much. There's nothing wrong with caring, but I
think I see where you're going, and I think it's being attached in a place of scarcity creates that anxiety.
Right.
Like, when you're in a place of, like, I don't think abundance and anxiety can coexist.
Right. Yeah.
Like, when I'm thinking about, like, I'm just in flow, like, everything, as terrible as things have gotten in my life or felt that way, like, still worked out. Like, still everything's okay. Like, still on a, like,
it means you're attached to a certain result that you're afraid you're not going to get. And so, like, if you're going on stage, I really want to be good. I want everyone to like me so much.
Oh, standing ovation.
Yeah.
Or bust. Yeah.
So when I go on stage, mainly because live music isn't my calling, I don't care. And I'm just like, this is a gig.
Yeah.
Cool. There's wine. Awesome. And like, here we go. And as a result, I don't know this, but I've been told, the results are really good.
The show that I saw, you stole. Like, you stole the show.
That is the thing called the backwards law. The more you care about something, the less likely you are to have it. And because
isn't that so bizarre?
Yeah, it's like trying to grab a bar of soap. You're just like, oh
yeah.
And
and then you're like, I don't care anymore. It's like, here you go.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm thinking like somehow in the last 2 years in the world of live music and guitar, in this area, I've become like. Last year I did 106 gigs.
Wild.
And
it's one every 3 days, essentially.
Yeah, every weekend I was doing 4 or 5 gigs. It was a bit much. And this year I'm scaling back. But I'm thinking there are certain musicians out there who would kill for that. That's their goal.
Yeah.
Me, I never intended for that to happen. It just happened because I didn't care about it. It wasn't a goal. And so when I went on stage, I was kind of free and unattached, and I would do weird stuff. Like I'd take the guitar off and play it like a piano.
Yeah.
Or I'd grab somebody's beer and play slide guitar. And if you cared too much, you wouldn't do stuff like
that. No way.
And or like I would give the guitar to somebody and just walk out. Bye. And,
I was at the show that I was at. I went and I got some food, and my friend was taking a picture, and I'm like, just get Todd in the background, and like I'll post it on Instagram. But it's like so cool. It's just like in the boomerang, you're just like, I'm over here like this, and then you're just in the background, and you just like point at it.
I was like, there's the thing.
I'm like, I couldn't have asked for a better moment than that. And it's like, I'm just trying to get a quesadilla, you know? So it's just like that's the part, like that's the space, like that's the magic. Like that's the stuff that's like worth living for, you know?
Yeah. And if you can kind of have that attitude with everything in life, which, is a state of just non-attachment. And so that doesn't mean, it's good to care about certain things.
Of course.
But with anything you're trying to achieve, just kind of go in with an attitude of, in the Bhagavad Gita, they say, perform action without attachment to the results. And so your job is to do the action. The results is out of your hands.
Yeah.
And so when I'm making music or when you're doing a podcast, you're just in the process. What happens is outside of your control.
Yeah.
And I think when people put the results too much emphasis on the results, that's when stuff like anxiety happens. Like, what if I don't get the results? So what if people hate me? What if this and that? And when I was making the Godyes record, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not even thinking beyond this. Right now, I'm having fun putting these weird sounds together. And I plan on continuing to do that. So.
But you did your part. Like you did exactly. You just like, it's funny because it's like in this own progression of our kind of conversation, you answer your own question. Like, how's anybody here? It's like, you did your part.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before it's heard en masse. But you've also had commercial success of something that you created just screwing around.
Right.
Ended up in a movie, you know? So this is not your first rodeo. Like this is.
I know part of me almost said, why does it have to be successful? Like, what if it just is the way it is?
What if this podcast changes one life? What if this podcast is like the reason someone doesn't kill himself? Like,
right? Yeah.
Can you put money on that?
Exactly.
A monetary value? I'd feel like pretty fucking
and in many
ways,
like the album has changed me, and now I'm interacting with people differently, and I'm like dropping things that are heavy, and so at the very end of the day, isn't that worth it?
Yeah.
And it's also a cool album that I can listen to. I love putting it on, and some people seem to enjoy it. So it's like, do you need millions of numbers for it to feel validated, or can it just be what it is now? And yes, I have the intention of having millions of numbers,
of course,
but I'm not so attached to it.
Yeah,
if I don't get it, that's cool.
I think if you're living your life in a way of collecting experiences and memories of, at the end of my life, I answered the call on all of these things.
Right.
I mean, because you can't take your money with you can't take those things, but it's like you can look back with like a certain satisfaction on the like, dude, I got one shot at this and I made it count.
Yeah, I always picture the old folks version of me. I'm in a retirement home at 80 years old.
Tell me about it.
Looking back at my life, and am I going to be the guy that made a bunch of sports music for NBC? Right. And I'll have like an entire hard drive full of all these library tracks I made and money to pay for my medical bills at that point. But then I'm gonna be like, oh, I never made that record, or I never did that thing, and now it's too late, because you can't be an 80-year-old doing a YouTube channel. Trust me.
Yeah,
maybe you can. Yeah, you can. I don't know. But so I was like, and I'm 45 now, and so it's kind of like I maybe a bit of it's a midlife crisis. I don't know.
I don't think so at all. Like I think it's an awakening. I think it's the preparation for this time and this moment that like, there's never a good time to start anything. So just start it today.
Exactly.
And we don't know what this answering the call to this project, what that's going to open up or yield for you next.
Exactly.
Like you just said, stepping stones, right? Mm-hmm. And this could be the one before the big one, or this is the big one. We don't know, but like. That's the cool part of it. Yeah,
and that's the thing about a lot of people visualize what they want, and but what I used to visualize, but I don't so much anymore, because what if what you want is, or what if what the universe is trying to give you is beyond what you can conceive of right now? Like Rick Beato, Rick Beato?
I don't.
He has a YouTube channel. He's got like 30 million subscribers. He's a guy, he was a musician for many years. He was in different bands. He's a producer, a songwriter. And then he has this this YouTube channel where he analyzes music. What makes this song great? And he does interviews and stuff like that. And now he's like a top of his game YouTube sensation. That was not his plan. Yeah. But the universe gave him something that he could not have conceived of. He was probably always conceiving of, I want to be a big famous rock star. But you never know, there might be something better.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think alleviating anxiety, I think one of the things that helps me with that is like the answer to what you want is yes, not yet, or something better. You're just like taking no off the table.
Right.
Like you wouldn't have a strong desire for something for that to always be unfulfilled.
Right.
But if it's what you fixate on,
yeah,
it's the sand in the palm kind of a.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus a lot of times we live in this, having big dreams and big goals is cool, but we're putting all our happiness in the future. Yeah. It's like, well, what about now?
Right.
And,
because at some point what you have today is something that you tried to manifest, prayed for, visualized in the past.
Yes. The current life that I'm living right now, I did visualize.
Isn't that great?
Like when I worked in LA, I was working at a record store. I was making $10 an hour, and I'd see these people walking in, and I was like, oh, so what I wanted, I had a list, which was I want a house because I lived in an apartment at the time. I want a house. I want a dog. I want a cable television. I want a hot tub.
Dream big, baby.
And I want a job making music from home. And I got all those. I pictured it being in LA. I didn't know it was going to be in Paso, but that's all right. The universe knew what I wanted before I did. Yeah. And so that's why a lot of people say, oh, that manifesting stuff, that's bullshit. I was like, really? Because have you seen what I'm doing right now? Like, yeah. And a lot of it, I did visualize it every morning. But now I'm kind of to this place of just doing things, of not knowing maybe there's something cooler that I can't conceive of right now trying to emerge through me. That's what Michael Beckwith talks about a lot, is what's trying to emerge through me. And so instead of seeing something, I'm going to go get that thing. Just trying to hear subtle cues, which is like says, do this thing, like make that album, do that podcast. And that's all you have to know at this point is the next step. And it might be an insanely huge life, world-changing thing, or it might be, I have a comfortable life living by the creek. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think there's I think that's like one of the things that's like really helped me when I get into like something that I perceive as scary because it's a new something. It's like, okay, I might not have the vision, but I can take that first step. Like I can take the next step. Yeah, like, that's okay. Like
all you need is the next step.
Yeah, and it's like maybe the step ends at this place, but the next step is this way, and then it's the thing. And so I try to think about that because I also want to be mindful of, like, when I was working with Jessica, she said, like, when will you know that you've arrived? And I just said, I already have. Like, the 25-year-old me would be so stoked on my life. Like, like if I could talk to me, like, wait, what? We gonna do all, like, for real? Like, so, but like then I get in my own bullshit. I'm like, I didn't get much sleep last night.
You'll always find something to complain
I live by the beach. Boo-hoo. It's like, wait, what? It's like, you got a rad life, dude. Relax. Like, all my dreams have come true, and I've never been more miserable.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I think Jim Carrey said that, where it's like, I wish everyone could achieve their wildest dreams so they can see that it's not the answer.
Yeah.
And it's, that doesn't mean sit on the couch your whole life. Yeah. But just know that anything you can achieve in this 3D reality here, you're not going to get any satisfaction from it. The only satisfaction comes from literally being in the now. Yeah. And I'm here, I'm now. When you're always striving to achieve that, everyone's at different levels. There's a time for, maybe you need to be in ass kicker achiever mode. And that serves, it's like stepping stone, building blocks. But I'm at this place now where it's like, just be here now. And this is my life.
Yeah.
This literally right here. Like this is my life.
Right. This moment. Yeah.
And so don't try to be at some far off universe where when XYZ happens, then I'm going to be happy. Like, be happy now.
Yeah.
Even when there's bad situations. I got stuff in my life going on.
Yeah.
And but it's never the thing that causes you pain. It's your resistance to the thing. There's a dog that barks in my house, and for a while it's the bane of my existence. It's my neighbor's dog all day. I'm trying to nap. I'm trying to work on music. And I was like, oh my God, like, oh. And I had like conversations with her, dude, you gotta do something about your dog. And then a weird thing happened as I was laying in bed. I was like, it's not the dog. Because other people aren't bothered by the dog.
Sure.
My neighbor, he's like, oh, I don't even notice it.
I didn't hear it. Yeah.
But why does it bother me so much? I was like, it's because of things that I've attached to it. It means that my neighbor's selfish or like I wouldn't do that. So I accepted the barking dog, and I said, you know what? What is it really? It's a sound. It's a rhythmic sound that happens in the background. That's all it is. All this other stuff that I assign meaning to it, like my neighbors being selfish, or I don't know, don't have control over my environment, or they're robbing me of my serenity, or this and that. That's all stuff I assign to it, and that's true for everything. Like for instance, like somebody cuts you off in traffic, one person's going to get mad, another person's going to be like, oh wow, okay, they must be in a hurry. Or we have a president and half the country's like, that guy is an asshole, and there's my savior. How can it be? How can the same stimulus have two different responses?
It's crazy, right?
It's because it's not this guy is just neutral. He's the inkblot test.
Yeah.
And we're just perceiving it a certain way. And so a lot of it's never the thing, it's your resistance to the thing. So when you have pain in your life or a bad situation, surrender to it, just like, that doesn't mean don't do anything about it.
Right.
But you'll have a much better chance of doing something about it if you surrender to it. Addictions, for instance, like if you got a heroin addiction, yes, guess what? Get some help.
Yeah.
Just straight up, just go. But other things in the past, I've never tried to quit anything. I just kind of did, because I didn't judge it. And
interesting.
A lot of times, like a lot of people beat themselves up for certain things. Oh my God, I ate too many French fries last night. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah.
That keeps things in place, because now you're vibrating at the frequency of I have no control. I suck. This and that. And through law of attraction, guess what's going to...
You're reinforcing that same belief.
Yeah. Instead, if you have like a sugar addiction or something like that, can you, for now... Yes, you have the intention of doing something about it, but can you, for now, just be okay with it?
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, cool. I eat a lot of candy. Because when you're always berating yourself over it, oh my God, waking up in the morning, why did I do that? This and that. You're reinforcing it, and so it's not the thing, it's your thought about the thing. And I've always found, I've gotten involved in some pretty heavy stuff, and I gave it up like that because I didn't judge it too much.
But it comes back to what you were sharing about the other stuff, is detachment.
Yes. That's the other thing, is being so attached to a result. Like, I got to shape up. I got to, get, lately I've been hitting the yoga pretty hard, but that was never my intention. I'm kind of getting in shape a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've never...
Next podcast is coming with the cutoffs.
Check out the good show. No, but I've never, all my life, I have struggled too. It would literally be like, I'd start working out for like 2 weeks, and then I get I'm gonna skip today, and then 3 days I've skipped, and then I'm back to where I was. I never intended. I just kind of started doing something in the present moment because I enjoyed doing it, and so. And being unattached to the results. I never wanted to get this deep into something like yoga. It was never my intention.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that, because there's definitely been times where like I would judge myself, and it's like, oh, I'm getting too lax on my diet, like eating too much fast food and that. And then it's like, then I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to like do, and I try to create like this formulaic like response to it, where it's just like in this place of like, that is the favorite thing I love about yoga. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to my body. I just know I like being here.
Yes.
You know,
you're acting without attachment to the results.
And then I also think about like, okay, the parts of my body where it's like, oh, I want a six pack, I'm there at a six pack, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I think it's good to have goals, but it's also like telling that part of my body that it's like, I don't like you. Like that's the signal that I'm like subconscious. And so like, of course it's going to be like, F you. Like I'm going to stay here. Like,
right.
And then I'm going to take you to go get the double Big Mac. Right. And so it's just like,
you're loving yourself conditionally.
Yeah. And just being to this place of like, all right, cool. Like whatever. Like I'm like, I like where I'm at. Like I feel good about where I'm at. And like, I think we can put ourselves in a box of like I was talking to one of my friends and she's just like, in the times where I've been like really obsessed with like my body image, and she's like, I love just like big dudes that are just like, you know, could care less about how they look. And I'm just like, I'm not a Calvin Klein model. Like, what? I know. You know, it's like, well, like, where do we tell us to a story? Like, you know?
Yeah, I know. That's what we've been told.
Or like when you see like somebody that's like really attractive and then they go out with somebody that like you would not expect.
Right.
And it's like the person is seemingly like so nonchalant that they just have this like, what we would call like a 10 in their life. Right. But it's like, the thing that is attractive is just that this person like loves how comfortable this other person is. So it's like,
it's confidence.
They're attracting the right thing.
But they say the most attractive thing is confidence. And so if you fully love yourself no matter what, and you have this thing, I've seen what stereotypically is not known as attractive people get like, you know, pretty good results in the dating world. Yeah. Mainly because they own it. They're like, yeah, this is me, man. Woo. Like,
yeah. And I think that's it is it's the being confident and so comfortable with yourself that you can only attract the right thing for you. You can only attract the best thing for you.
Yes, because if you're always thinking about, I suck. I gotta get it together.
If win. Yeah.
Then that's the vibration you're putting out, and then the reality mirrors that vibration, and you get more of that, and you go, see, I told you, look, I'm right.
Yeah.
And so it's just owning 100%, be cool with where you're at right now, even if the ego judges that you should be somewhere else. No, I'm here right now, and can I make this a 10? And certain things, you know, certain things I would rather change, but this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And surrender to it. That doesn't mean be complacent, because you can't stop change. That's the thing, is the universe and reality is always changing. And so a lot of times we make things worse by trying to take control
of something we never had control of at all.
Like if we cut ourselves, well, the natural tendency for the cut is to heal. And unless you mess with it. And a lot of times we have problems in our lives. A lot of times the answer is to do nothing.
To not mess with it.
Yeah. A lot of times we're messing with the wound, going, why isn't it healing?
Yeah.
And even the biggest problems, there's a solution to every problem, even the ones you can't see the solutions of. And sometimes if you just do nothing, meditate, and you'll be surprised.
I call it healthily detaching. My favorite author is Melody Beattie, and I've read a couple of her books, and like her big thing on detachment is, when should you, because we say detachment, we think like we're just holding a cold shoulder. Like that's not what we're saying. We're saying like, okay, I'm going to detach and trust that like this other human being can figure out their own thing without me constantly feeling like I have to interfere. But her like, when should you detach? It's when you most don't want to. And that's been really powerful for me, and that's been really helpful, because like it's easy for me to fixate. And then it's when I'm hyper fixated, it's like, okay, it's time. It's time.
And you know, how often has that worked?
The hyper fixating never works. The detachment, and then all of a sudden, like the thing you really wanted comes back into your life when you're not going to like place it on this pedestal, and give it more energy, because you give it all that energy and attention, takes you away from it. If I'm fixating on that, I don't have the creative space and energy and juice to do what I'm supposed to be. Producing, creating, bringing into this world. Non-attachment. It's like the backwards law. The more you want something, so paradoxical, right?
But it sucks that it's like that. It's like, why is it designed this way? Does God playing a trick on us?
It's like, I'm supposed to manifest $1 million, but I want $1 million. Like, how's this working?
I know. Eckhart Tolle says, just don't, you should just be content with now and don't want $1 million. But then ironically, you'll get $1 million.
It's wild. It's funny, because it's like, it's like reaching that point of maybe exhaustion, for lack of a better word, where you're just so tired of caring that you stop caring. and then it just happens.
Yeah, and it is nice not caring.
So nice.
Like and stuff flows better. And
yeah, like I call it just like the volume is just turned down on a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go away.
Because I used to have anxiety and panic attacks,
same.
And I see other people having them now, and like I can't remember the last time I had that. I was like, it's like you care too much, and and you have a result that you're trying to go for, and you're scared you're not going to get it, and but I was like, just think of this all as a dream. This is all a dream, anyways. None of this is real.
Which is
the name of my album, by the way.
Yeah, I think there's just so much about like the project that you created that I think is going to resonate with a lot of people, and yeah,
I hope so.
It's definitely like it's the thing that like the person that told me about it was just like put this on like in the car and just crank it and experience it, and I did that, and I was just like, okay, I take that back. Okay, so I have this weird thing, and I don't know if I'm the only weirdo like this, but like sometimes something will be like so 100% like up my alley that it comes into my life and I'll like get a taste of it, and then I'm like, I only get one time to experience this for the first time, so I'm not ready for it yet.
Right, yeah.
So like I heard like the first like minute and a half of the first track, and then I was like, and then like the person like, did you listen? I'm like, I just, and then like I got there, and it was like, I'm so glad that I set that time aside to savor it,
right?
Instead of like being preoccupied or like, oh, like I listen to this while I'm working on work emails or whatever. It's like I created that space to like
to actually listen to it.
Yeah. So it's like for anybody that's like, get in that space where like whatever you like doing, this will enhance that. If it's going for a drive, going for a walk, going to the beach. So
nice. I know there's certain songs I don't want to wear out. I
get that. Yeah.
There's this song by M83 called Outro, and it's like, that's gotta be my favorite song in the world. But it's so much so that I don't listen to it.
I understand. Yeah. There's certain things like for me, the biggest one of this right now is the Kanye documentary. I like watched like the first 15 minutes, and I'm like, so you mean to tell me these two guys who are essentially nobodies 20 years ago said, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll be somebody to start filming this right now. Like, holy smokes. Like, I am not prepared for this.
Wow.
Like,
I gotta check that out.
that kind of creativity. And so it's like, yeah. And it's just like being a fan of like those types of things of like, or you come across like a new show or something. And like, I'm like, dude, like I am so jealous that you haven't seen this yet.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
'cause that's how cool the experience is. Yeah. So you created something like that. That's
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think that where you're at with who it gets to and where it's at is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Right. Exactly.
And it's also building something within you internally that when that happens, you're going to be more prepared to receive it.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm definitely different now having done this, and I'm going to continue to do it. And I have no expectations or results. I'm just I like doing it. It's like yoga. It's like you don't go in there going, no, part of you does, but it's not, I'm going to be the next Dylan Werner. I'm going to be the best. But no, you go in there and it's fun, and an hour later you feel better than you did before. And that's it. That's it's its own reward.
Yeah.
And when I'm making authentic music, Godyes music, it's its own reward. I did some this morning. I was just throwing some sounds together, and I'm like, oh my God, that's freaking awesome. And now I'm going to go about my day. And
but that's like the cool thing about like the parallel between like yoga and the music is like, I think on your like most recent post, you were doing a yoga move, and you said something about it's practice, not perfection, something like that, right?
Yes, progress.
Progress, not perfection. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah. If you're always striving, I'm going to be the best in the world. You hear interviews with people like Eddie Van Halen. They say stuff like, I never practiced. You're like, how can that be? But because they didn't, he never sat down and I'm going to be the best in the world. Mm-hmm. He was just doing it because he liked doing it. Yeah. And like all I know is when I sit down and I do this thing, it fills me up with this buzzing vibration. Yeah. And if law of attraction is a thing, and we know it is, how do you think the reality is going to respond to that high vibrational buzz? Right. It's going to give you
the good that I just put into the world.
Yeah. And it's going to be something you would have never anticipated, but it's going to match that high buzz. And I've seen it already. And I just every day just put yourself into what feels like a 10. And a lot of times we do stuff that's like a 6 or 5. You know, playing live music for me is like a 7. certain people in your life that person feels like a 5, but creating authentic music feels like a 10, and it makes me like, whew. And so does meditation, and so does yoga. I know those 3 things are a 10, so I'm going to do that as much as possible.
I really like that, because I think that like for me, like it's it's either an F or it's a no, and I think that can be, we can get too aggressive or too like fixated on that, but I love that. Like, how can I trade these 3s for like 5s and then 7s and then 10s, and then all of a sudden like you're in the spaces of like, is this a 10? It's a 7, but I'm going to say yes to it for now, because it's not like it's a bad thing. It's just not a 10.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
But getting rid of the 3s
can't be all 10s all the time.
Because then you're on sensory overload.
You're like, what? But those 10s attract more 10s.
Yeah.
And so
10s hang out 10s.
Yeah. I know. I was talking to somebody about like people that are trying to get healthy. You instead of subtracting unhealth, you add health, and that will attract more health into your life. So if you want more 10s in your life, don't subtract, just do more 10s, and more 10s will come into your life, and the universe will mirror that.
You talked about like happiness and like varying degrees, and it's like, I think like peak happiness is like, there's just that place of satisfaction,
right? Like
there's like something so satisfying of like, dude, I made today count.
Yeah.
Like I made it count.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way I could have done this day better than the way that I did it. Like that is like such a good feeling.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. When you have a really good productive day, you're just like, at the end of the day, you're just like,
Yeah.
And sometimes productive can be disguised as different things. Sometimes, like last Wednesday, I had the whole day off. I literally did nothing all day. And I did meditate a lot, and I feel like that was a really productive day.
Yeah, no, I think that's
because I had a lot of revelations about stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm doing this thing because of this thing. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Yeah. The Carly and I were talking about the non-negotiables of happiness. Like,
right,
it can be the simplest stuff, but it's just like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
like getting in that space of like, I have nowhere to be.
Right,
I'm not going to put any pressure on my self to be anywhere.
Yeah,
like that was so enriching.
Yeah, I know. I see a lot of people doing this, the Gary Vee thing, where there's like, you got to get up and rise and grind, and
you got to beat the crackhead.
Yeah,
I've literally said that on the other 3 podcasts. So the fact that you just randomly bring that up, yeah, like I'm not on that path anymore.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I did have a friend who he would get up at 3 a.m. and go to the gym at 4, and that, I mean, if everybody's in a different place, and that's cool. If that is your calling at that time, and it seemed like it made him feel good, but I ain't doing that.
Yeah. There's some people that it's like, there's a certain, pretty popular figure in the self-help that posts a picture of his watch at like 4:15 like every single day, and I'm like, I would die. Like, I'm a night person. Like I thrive in different hours than other people. So why would I try to change just because like that's what it's supposed to look like?
Yes.
Why can't I dominate a different time of the day?
Right. And why can't we take it slower? And is that like the people back in the day, like like way back in the day, like caveman days, or it's just kind of being in touch with nature.
Well, how many people do you hear like, you know what I'd do if I had all the money? Like I just own a farm.
Right.
And my kids would just like eat dirt and be kids. It's like,
right. I was like, you can do that now.
We can't do that. Yeah. What's the problem? Like, I don't have enough money. Like, you don't need a lot of money to do that, It's like,
right.
Yeah. So I think that because that's one of the, like, I had to reconcile that like about a year and a half ago. I was like, no more sprinting, no more like getting to where I need to do, but just sheer will, grit, and determination. Right. It's like slow up the pace, change the pace, smell the roses.
Exactly.
And if I don't get where I wasn't supposed to be there anyway.
Well, a lot of times you're going to get there, and then it's not going to satisfy you. You're just going to want more.
Yeah.
How many rich people?
The disease of more.
How many rich people? First of all, how many unhappy rich people exist? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And then how many rich people want more money?
Yeah.
And it's because it's never going to be enough. So it's like, what do you want, money or do you want satisfaction? Mm-hmm. And realizing that you're not going to get satisfaction from achieving anything.
Yeah.
And these people that I work 20 hours a day and I make $1 million a year. I'm like, okay, but for what?
Yeah.
So you can work more 20 hours a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's this, have you heard the story of the fisherman? like the fisherman. So like there's a story. I think I first heard this on like Tim Ferriss, and we'll share this, and then but basically like this guy goes on vacation, and this fisherman is like catches a bunch of fish and then grills them, and they're like delicious. And the guy who's like the tourist is like, oh my gosh, like you should turn this into a business. And then the fisherman's like, and then what? And he takes them all the way through the process where he's basically like running like this like conglomerate of like fish that he caught. Right. And then at the very end of the story, he's like, and then what? He's like, and then you can fish all day and share the extra fish with your friends and, you know, barbecue and play your guitar at night. And he's like, but I'm doing that now, you know? So it's like, that's like, so being intentional and like, yeah, like it's living your life in such a way where it's like, you can do your dream life now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you have all these big dreams. So for what? So you can chase a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have that feeling right now.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
If you want to be, like a lot of people want to be rich so they feel secure, you can feel secure right now.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to starve. You got a house. It's fine.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, just I'm not saying, you know, sit on the couch and eat chips all day, but unless that's your calling.
I mean, it could be. I mean, like you want to do like a chip blog.
That
I don't
might
know.
be.
You know?
That might be
potato chip tester. Whatever.
That's gonna be my next project. It's gonna be called God Yes Chip Edition, and it's just gonna be an Instagram page of me eating chips.
You're like strumming the guitar with a chip.
Dude, I got 1 million followers on my chip page. This is amazing.
Well, Todd, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for making the time for this.
Thanks for having me.
Tell everybody where we can find you on social, where we can find the album.
Album on Spotify. I need to get my Spotify streams up, so listen to it 10 or 20 times if you can. No, it's God Yes, Godyes. The album is Nothing Is Real. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. I got an Instagram page called God Yes Official, and that's it right now. I got to get. It's on Facebook as well. Nobody's on Facebook anymore.
Sorry, Mark.
And but I'm eventually going to get a YouTube channel and a TikTok.
I know that like that's been in my ears. Like, dude, TikTok's
dude, you gotta get on TikTok.
You gotta get TikTok. I'm like, I'm not gonna learn to do a dance and do all this stuff and cut up my stuff.
I was like, I'm not a millennial.
I'm just like, can I just
make music?
The person that wants to find it, they can find it. I don't need to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Really, just stream it, enjoy it, and it will. I'll be making more tracks. Rewriting stuff right now, and I'm just gonna keep making new tracks, and I'm gonna throw it out there, and we're gonna see what happens.
Well, I love it, Todd. I really appreciate you being here, and
Nice.
Just what I tell to everybody at the end of the show is just like, if this resonated with you, this show, Todd's music, please pass it along, pay it forward to a friend. Let's bring up the vibration for everybody, and for the people that are thinking about going after that idea, you got to do it. Answer the call. Thank you all. See you all the next time. And Todd, my man, I appreciate you so much, my guy.
Oh yeah, right, thanks so much.
The way you been on me, you're making me panic. The way you been on me, don't make it a habit. It's reaching for passion and addiction. Give me a job, I give her the business. See what she saw, be quiet regardless. Keep leading me on, cause your body is flawless, girl. She be calling up, I be hanging up. She be balling, I do it to make her nuts. Yeah, she love me, but baby, it ain't enough. I keep fucking the friends just to shake it up. Find a better man, leave me jettison. Dating the devil's a hell of a medicine. She like never that, I could never leave. It's confusing, but here's what she said to me. All I ever wanna do is spend the rest of the time with you. It takes a special kind of fool to spend the rest of the time with you. All I ever wanna do is spend the rest of the time with you. It takes a special kind of fool.
God, I'm stuck in my old ways, which you cannot stop. Hugs in the hallway and feel your heart drop. I open the door for you, run to the store for you, make some good grub for you. Chivalry's overdue, working so hard for you, writing a song for you, making good love to you. I'm coming through. I'm the nicest of nice. Cover the sun, have the nicest of nights. Shopping mall runs, no matter the price. We'll always have fun, ignoring the fights. You'll always be right, I'll always be wrong. Keeping it light, never headstrong. You'll be alright, you just need to move on. Turn on that mic and hear you sing along like